Hey everyone, Mia here from MGS Global Group. Today I'm here with something a little different. We're going to talk about how you can start your own podcast. Now I get it. You might be thinking, Mia, I'm all about creating spaces, not podcasts. But let me tell you, podcasting is an incredible way to reach new audiences, share your unique perspectives, and even grow your own career. And the best part is, anyone could do it by following this video. So let me break it down into 7 key, simple, manageable steps. All right, step 1. You need a solid concept, or what I like to call your podcast blueprint. Just like a building, your podcast needs a strong foundation. First, ask yourself a few questions. What topics really light you up? Do you want to talk about sustainable design, the future of urban spaces, or maybe your day-to-day experiences in the field? So an important question to ask is, who's your audience? Are you speaking to other architects, students, or maybe even potential clients who want to understand more about your work? And what's your unique perspective about this? Think about what makes your voice stand out. This could be anything from the niche expertise you bring to a unique design philosophy to stories about real-world challenges you've overcome. You can also research existing podcasts in the industry to get you inspired. A few great examples are the Entree Architect podcast, Podcast Disrupted, Architectat, She Builds podcast, and of course, our very own Architect My Business podcast and AI for Architects. Remember, a clear theme will help you connect with listeners who share your passion. Once you know your audience and the kind of message you want to share, your unique take will keep them coming for more, so don't be afraid to make it personal. Now that you have your concept, it's time to gather your tools. And the thing is, you don't need a fancy setup to start a podcast. In fact, you might already have most of what you need. So here's a simple checklist for your setup. A USB microphone, some headphones so you can hear yourself clearly when recording and also to avoid echo if you have guest interviews, a laptop or desktop computer with basic recording software. Audacity is a great choice. It's easy, free, and also has all the features you'll need to start out. And lastly, a quiet space. Find a room in your home where you can record without interruptions. Even a closet can work well for soundproofing. It's just like starting with the essentials for any project. The basic tools will get you going, and as you grow, you can upgrade your setup as needed. All right, let's move on to structuring your episodes. This will depend mostly on the podcasting style you want to go for, so there are tons of different types, but the most common ones you see are podcasts where you interview a guest or two, or you could definitely podcast alone. You want a simple structure that you can stick with for each episode, but you can also switch it up every once in a while. So here's a basic episode structure that's easy to follow. Start with an intro. It should grab people's attention and set the tone for what's to come. For example, if you're having a guest join you on an episode, you can start by sharing a snippet of something interesting your guest shared on the show. And if you're doing it alone, you can tease your topic a little bit before you formally start the episode. You can also pre-record a standard intro and outro, so you could just insert the same recording for each episode. So next, dive into the main content. This is where you want to share the core ideas, stories, or tips you planned. Think of it as the meaty part of the episode where your listeners will want to hang out and absorb what you're saying. You can ask interesting questions and get valuable insights from your guests. And if you're alone, you can give your insights in a cohesive flow, like telling a story to your audience. Finally, wrap it up with a closing segment. Your closing should leave a lasting impression. A typical way podcasters do this is with a striking quote or an interesting question about the topic. Also, don't forget to thank your listeners, recap the key points, and tease what's coming next. Use this part of the podcast to let listeners know where they can reach out to you if they have any questions or topics they'd like you to cover in future episodes. If you're having trouble structuring your episodes or coming up with episode ideas, don't hesitate to use AI tools to help you generate ideas and organize your content. Let us know in the comments if you want us to create a video about the best AI tools you can use for creating content and even for creating podcasts. Now it's time to bring your podcast to life. Recording is where the fun begins, and it's actually pretty straightforward. They say recording is the easiest part of podcasting, especially when you have everything set up and prepared. So let me give you some tips to get the best results. So speak clearly and at a steady pace. Imagine you're having a conversation with a friend. Keep a glass of water nearby. Staying hydrated helps you sound your best. And don't worry about small mistakes or ums and ahs. They're easy to edit out later. What's important is the content. As long as you get the message across, you're good to go. So once you're done with the recording, make sure to check if the footage is complete and export it on your laptop, PC, or whatever you use for editing. And when it comes to editing, think of it as refining a rough draft. Focus on cutting out long pauses, adding some intro music, and making sure the sound levels are balanced. It doesn't have to be perfect, but these small touches can make a big difference. So let me give you a pro tip. You can also invest in Riverside. This is not sponsored, by the way. To make recording and editing easier. Riverside is a tried and tested tool we use for easy transcription, making captioning and production much easier. You can also record a podcast in Riverside, and the magic tool splices the video into short-form videos, which is a process that usually takes hours. So if you're looking for convenience, it's definitely worth a look. Okay, once your episode is edited and ready to go, it's time to share it with the world. Here's how to get your podcast out there. So choose a hosting platform like Libsyn or Buzzsprout. We usually use Libsyn because it's incredibly user-friendly with a straightforward interface that allows uploading and managing podcast episodes to the big podcasting platforms. It's great for making the podcasting process easier, and these platforms will host your episodes and make it easy to distribute them. So submit your podcast to popular listening platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Pandora. This way, your show can reach listeners wherever they prefer to tune in. Finally, promote your podcast on social media like your website and even LinkedIn. This is where the real work starts. This is how you tell the world that you just launched your podcast. You can share behind-the-scenes snippets, interesting highlights, or visuals to get people excited about your episodes. So now let's say you have the first episode going. Another important factor in its success is consistency. Your listeners want to know when they can expect new episodes, so pick a publishing schedule that works for you, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, and stick to it. It's a lot like working on a project deadline. A regular schedule helps you be on track and helps your audience stay engaged. Finally, keep improving. Listen to feedback, watch your numbers, and look for ways to make your podcast better. Just like any project, it won't start out perfect, and there's always room for growth. Starting a podcast might feel a bit intimidating, but remember that the first step is always the hardest. You're doing this for your future. So if you're inspired to start your own podcast, I'd love to hear about it. Drop a comment below or reach out to us on our website, and you might even be our next guest. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. We've got tons more content coming your way to help you build not just incredible spaces, but also a fantastic career. For more tips, check out our blog at mgsglobalgroup.com. This is Mia. Thank you for watching, and bye everyone.